Okay, the login sequence, what actually happens when you log in, begins with the window, the login window itself, which I'll call the login prompt. That prompt is provided by the login process, and that process waits. It allows you to enter your username and password, and then it authenticates you. And once you're authenticated, that process is going to look inside the /etc/password shell for your user's login shell. Now, you can go to the /etc/password file and you can look for that shell. It's going to be the last field in your entry. We can, for instance, go over here and look at and if I go down, clear down to the bottom, there's mine, my entry, and you can see in my entry that my shell is the bash shell. Okay. The login process then, after interrogating that, determining which shell is your shell, it execs your login shell. Remember what that means. Although there isn't an exec system call, there's a whole family of them, and basically what happens is it overlays itself. The login process overlays itself with the code and data segments for your login shell. At that point, the login shell is configured. It's a non-interactive shell, and non-interactive shells, we'll see in just a minute, execute certain shell scripts when they come into being. And then your login shell also is responsible for starting up a whole lot of other processes for your graphical user environment. For instance, if you're using GNOME, you're going to have a whole lot of processes. Again, this is something you can do simply by going over and doing a PS LAX, and you might want to pipe that to less. I'm just going to let it run. But what you can see is I'm user 1000, so anything with a 1000 in front is mine. And you can see that there are a whole lot of processes that get started for me. Now, clearly some of these are because I've got a whole bunch of other things running, but you'll see that you've got a lot. If you look through yours, in fact, do this. When you just start up, just open a terminal before you do anything else and do a PS LAX, and you'll see that you still have a whole lot of these running. It's GNOME's way of taking care of you. And then suppose that you start a terminal session. Of course, when you start a terminal session, you get a shell. This is called an interactive shell. Notice your login shell you were never able to interact with. But now this shell, the shells that you get in your terminal windows, are ones that you can interact with.